And business insurance startup Corgi announced on Wednesday a $160 million Series B led by TCV, valuing the startup at $1.3 billion. The startup's co-founder Nico Lacqua said on LinkedIn, this comes just 4 months after the company announced a $108 million Series A. The company has now raised $268 million in funding to date, Lacqua said, and has become Y Combinator's latest unicorn.
A senior officer in Gaza's interior ministry has been killed in an Israeli airstrike. According to Palestinian medics and Hamas sources, the medics on Wednesday said Nassim al-Khalazani, a colonel in the police force, was killed in a targeted Israeli strike on his vehicle near the Al-Mawasi area in western Khan Yunis city in the south of the besieged Gaza Strip.
And in a new wave of attacks in Mali, an al-Qaeda-linked group has stormed a main prison housing fighters from the armed group and set fire to trucks with food supplies heading to the capital Bamako. Fighters from the Jamaat Nurat al-Islam wal Muslimin (JNM) group stormed the Kenyaroba Central Prison, a recently built complex dubbed Africa Alcatraz, located about 60 kilometers, 37 miles southwest of Bamako. Al Jazeera's Nicholas Hack reported on Wednesday.
Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev is touting the success of the fintech's new ventures fund I, which allows retail investors to invest in private tech companies like Stripe, Ura, Databricks, OpenAI, and others through a publicly traded fund listed on the NYSE. We had something like over 150,000 retail investors participate in the IPO, so it's quite democratized, noted Tenev in an interview at the Wall Street Journal's Future of Everything conference this week. The fund, which launched in March, arrives at a time when the term unicorn, which once referred to the rare billion-dollar startup, has become outdated. When AI model providers like OpenAI and Anthropic are raising capital at valuations of $850+ billion to $900 billion, another word besides unicorn is needed. Microsoft is weighing whether to delay or scale back one of its most ambitious clean energy goals as its rapid build-out of AI data centers puts pressure on its ability to meet those targets. Microsoft has yet to make any public announcements, but according to Bloomberg, the company is having internal discussions over its hourly clean energy matching goal. The tech company has said that by 2030, it intends to match 100% of its hourly energy use with clean power on the same grid. But Microsoft's rush to build AI data centers has apparently sparked debate within the company about whether the pledge has become an impediment to its ambitions.
Primary elections in Indiana and Ohio have drawn the latest battle lines for the United States midterm elections in November, while underscoring Trump's continued sway over Republican voters. In Ohio, voters on Tuesday picked the candidates who will face off in the consequential election, with Democrats picking former Senator Sherrod Brown to take on Republican John Husted. Husted replaced Vice President J.D. Vance when he left his Senate seat for the White House. A U.S. court has sentenced Latvian hacker Denis Zolotajovs to more than 8 years in prison following his conviction for carrying out ransomware attacks. The Justice Department accused the hacker of working for a notorious Russian ransomware gang called Karakurt, which was led by former leaders of the Akira and Conti ransomware gangs, who were sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury for their alleged links to Russian intelligence.
In late August 2017, key figures at OpenAI, then a small non-profit research lab, gathered to discuss how they would create a for-profit to commercialize its technology and raise the funds needed to realize AGI. Elon Musk was demanding full control of the company and had just given each of his co-founders a Tesla Model 3. CTO Greg Brockman said he saw that as a way of buttering them up at a time when Musk and Sam Altman were vying to win support for their respective visions of the company's future. OpenAI's head of research, Ilya Sutskever, had commissioned a painting of a Tesla to give Musk during the meeting as a friendly gesture.
Islamabad. PTI Secretary General Salman Akram Raja on Wednesday maintained that the formation of the Punjab Coordination and Monitoring Committee would not be discussed, as the party leadership planned to raise the issue in the upcoming party meeting. The composition of the aforementioned committee has been a subject of internal rift within the party, with leaders opposing the nomination of Amjad Khan Niazi as the convener of the body, as he had parted ways with the party in the wake of May 9, 2023 protests.
And Israel struck Beirut on Wednesday for the first time since agreeing to a ceasefire with Hezbollah last month, with Israel claiming it targeted a commander of the group's elite Radwan force in the city's southern suburbs. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz announced the action in a joint statement. Israeli media reported that the commander was killed in the strike, but there was no immediate confirmation from the Israeli military or Hezbollah.
Israeli forces have targeted Beirut's southern suburbs for the second time on Wednesday, causing a loud explosion and extensive damage. The Israeli army confirmed the attack and said it was targeting Malek Balu, a commander of Hezbollah's Radwan force.
And DeepSeek is in talks to raise its first round of venture capital, and in just a few weeks, its potential valuation has soared from $20 billion to $45 billion, the Financial Times and Bloomberg reported. And the Chinese AI lab came to prominence in early 2025 after launching a large language model that trained on a fraction of the compute power and at a fraction of the cost of the big US models like those from OpenAI and Anthropic. And it has since kept reasonable pace with the top models in the world in areas like reasoning and coding, while remaining open weight. Versions are freely available on Hugging Face.
SpaceX, Elon Musk's space company that also houses his AI company, XAI, is considering spending $55 billion, at least initially, to build a semiconductor factory in Grimes County, Texas, according to a proposal on the county website. The company estimates it may spend a total of $119 billion on the project, which would be a multi-phase, next-generation, vertically integrated semiconductor manufacturing and advanced computing fabrication facility, according to the filing. AI evaluation startup Braintrust has urged customers to revoke and replace their API keys after an earlier breach of customer secrets. According to an email sent to customers Monday and seen by TechCrunch, the startup confirmed unauthorized access in one of its Amazon Web Services cloud accounts, which contained API keys used by customers for accessing cloud-based AI models.
And the players struck their crutches against each other as they chase a football, as well as a larger dream of competing at the global level. Children shriek with joy as they watch a goalkeeper dive to block an attempt with her remaining hand. And amputee football, a seven-a-side version of the game in which players roam the field on crutches and goalkeepers have one arm, has grown steadily in Rwanda over the past decade. And players say they have found a community on the field after embracing a sport some never imagined they could play.
Pakistani players and teams will be able to participate in multilateral events hosted by India, but bilateral events remain off the table, India's sport ministry said on Wednesday. India also said the visa process for sportspersons and officials will be simplified, while office bearers of international sport governing bodies will be granted multi-entry visas.
And Apple has agreed to pay $250 million to settle a class action lawsuit over how it marketed its AI features ahead of the launch of the iPhone 16. The Financial Times was the first to report the news, and the lawsuit alleged that Apple exaggerated the breadth of features Apple Intelligence would bring, which included a significantly upgraded version of its assistant Siri. And the complaint alleges that the company created the impression that advanced AI capabilities would be available to users sooner than they actually were. In particular, and the plaintiffs allege that Apple overstated both the readiness and functionality of these features, particularly the promised improvements to Siri, which have yet to fully materialize.
You might think the big story out of Match Group's first quarter earnings is Tinder's turnaround. The dating app's revenue is slightly up again after quarter of declines, but we'd like to point to a comment the chief financial officer made about how the company is slowing its hiring right now because it needs more money to pay for AI tools for its employees.
Genesis AI, a startup that raised a $105 million seed round to build foundational AI for robotics, has unveiled its first model, GN 26.5, and it comes with surprise hands. In a demo video, the company showcased various advanced tasks performed by a set of robotic hands it has designed in-house. The model has always been the goal, because a better model means better intelligence, Genesis co-founder and CEO Joe Shen told TechCrunch, but the company soon realized that it needed control over the hardware. So we decided to go full stack, he said. Google is updating search to refine its AI experience by adding additional context to links like conversations from web forums, as well as a feature that highlights links from a user's news subscriptions while citing web forums and discussion boards can help users find answers to more niche queries. This design choice could also prove chaotic.
Chrome on Android now lets users share their approximate location with websites rather than their precise location, Google announced this week. The tech giant says that while some cases require precise location, such as when you're placing a delivery order or trying to find the closest ATM, there are instances when your approximate location is enough, like when you're getting access to local weather and news. By letting you share your approximate location, we're giving you more control over your location data, Google explained in a blog post, and you can still share your precise location when it's needed, e.g., for navigation, so you won't lose functionality. Suzuki has finally launched the much-anticipated Fronx in Pakistan after months of speculation surrounding its local debut. The Suzuki Fronx was first showcased in Pakistan at the Pakistan Auto Show, where the crossover attracted significant attention from car enthusiasts and potential buyers. Ted Turner, the flamboyant US entrepreneur who transformed television news with the creation of CNN in 1980, died at the age of 87, the network said on Wednesday. The mustached Southerner, yachting enthusiast and philanthropist, whose empire also included sports clubs, had been suffering from the degenerative disease Lewy body dementia. Islamabad, the 6th International Pai-Gamai Islam Conference, held on Wednesday, awarded the titles of Leader of Peace and Greatest Victorious General of the Century to Chief of Defence Forces, CDF, and Chief of the Army Staff, COAS, Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir, in recognition of his role in promoting peace and strengthening stability across the Muslim Ummah. The conference, organised by the International Tazim-i-Haramain Sharifain Council and Pakistan Ulema Council, strongly condemned the attacks on Iran by the United States and Israel.
And Peshawar. Jamiat Ulema-i-Islam Fazil, JUIF, on Wednesday held protest rallies across Khyber Pakhtunkhwa against the killing of prominent cleric and former MPA Maulana Muhammad Idris, said a statement issued by the party's media cell. On Tuesday, JUIF chief Maulana Fazlur Rahman announced that the party would hold protests all over the country on Wednesday and Friday against the martyrdom of the cleric. And about 100 pro-Palestinian protesters have gathered outside a New York synagogue for the second time in 6 months to demonstrate against an Israeli real estate event featuring properties for sale in the occupied West Bank. Counter-protesters were also present outside the venue on Tuesday evening as scuffles broke out between the opposing groups. And Ted Turner, the brash sportsman and entrepreneur whose ambition and instincts led to a media empire that included the groundbreaking news network CNN, has died, CNN reported, citing a press release from Turner Enterprises. He was 87, no cause of death was given on Wednesday. and piracy is rising again near Somalia. Since April 20, at least 3 ships have been hijacked off Somali waters and one near the Yemeni coast. A sailor's voice note from a seized vessel has spread online. As the US-Israel war on Iran shakes the region, is it fueling attacks on key shipping routes? In this episode,
the United Kingdom's Green Party leader Zach Polanski, a 43-year-old self-styled eco-populist presenting himself as a progressive alternative to Keir Starmer's governing Labour Party, is banking on a political breakthrough in British local elections this week. More than 5,000 council seats will be up for grabs on Thursday as voters in 136 local authorities head to the polls, including in London and other major UK cities. At least 4 people have been killed in political unrest after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Hindu Nationalist Party won the state election in West Bengal. Police and party officials say Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, swept the polls in its first ever victory in the key eastern state, home to about 100 million people, winning 206 of the 294 assembly seats, according to results announced on Tuesday.